All right. Good morning once again, everyone. And welcome. This is like the day four of the graphic design class. Again, my name is Mr. Tony, and today we'll be looking at the softwares. Yes, that's the whole idea. So before I begin, I would like that you just place your thumbs up if you can hear my voice, everyone. If you can, you just place me a thumbs up as a reaction so I can proceed. If you can hear my voice, please a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can see I am loud and clear. Thank you. Also, I think the same principle still runs here. So if you have any questions, you might be able to drop that question on the chats. There'll be room for you to speak. But when I am speaking, I'll be muting everybody so that everyone can hear me. So there'll be room for you to speak, but that will be given to you afterwards. But also you can be dropping one or two questions on the chat. While I am speaking, I'll be checking the chat. That will help me to know whether I am communicating. Okay. So what I am doing today is just a follow-up of what has been done from the past 3 days, Monday to Wednesday. My own job here is to show you the software, give you a little bit of what you'll be doing next week when you come physically for a physical class. So mine is just to give you a heads up. These are the softwares we're using. This is how the softwares look like. This is what the softwares can do. This is what you should be able to prepare yourself for. So there's a heads up basically before the next week's physical class where the practical starts fully. Okay. So all right, I can see the chat. Good morning. I hope you're all ready. So please take notes. We are learning graphics, and then we're learning it in two facets. We're learning it from the drawing aspect and the photo editing aspect. So I've already started sharing my screen. I'll be talking a little bit about these softwares before I open the softwares up for us to look at them. Okay. So please just give me the opportunity to speak for the next 30 minutes. I'll be speaking for the next 30 minutes, just sit and watching the screen and be listening. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll be working on Illustrator. They are both under the Adobe's platform. We're going to be working on Illustrator, Photoshop, and CorelDRAW. Those are the three softwares that we'll be looking at, and the softwares that you will be using next week. All right, so pardon me. Okay, so I go on. So the three softwares, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and CorelDRAW. All right. I know back the 2 days or 3 days, you've been taught the principles of graphic, the principle of graphic designing. We talked about colors and the likes. And we talked about all the other principles as regards to what you should know when you are working on designing something. All right. So let me do it this way. First of all, understanding graphics, you need to understand that designing has two facets. It has the facet for drawing or illustrations. And that's the facet that has to do with you using colors, using lines, using shapes. Yes, especially lines and shapes. That is the facet for lines and shapes. And that's what CorelDRAW and Illustrator are basically meant for. Any software that allows you to work well with lines and shapes, with angles, with mathematical symbols and what have you are vector software. They call them vector. So for instance, CorelDRAW, Illustrator, GIMP, Inkscape, and the likes, this kind of software. There are softwares for vector graphics, graphic softwares that you will be drawing, basically. You're going to be graphically drawing something, using lines, using shapes, using colors, many palettes of colors. These are vector graphics softwares, okay? They are vector graphics. For instance, what I have here on the screen, this is a drawing, and this is a software that allows for that. So Illustrator and CorelDRAW are software for drawing. Yeah. You can also use them for maybe you want to touch an image, but it's not going to do you very well. It's not going to do you very well. Yes, that's the fact. Their job is majorly for you to work on lines, to draw illustrations. And so in that light, you will best be working well with those kind of softwares. That leads to the second software, which we'll also be talking about, which is Photoshop. Photoshop is the second software that we'll be showing you, and that one is just for images. So that's for photographic images, pictures you've taken on your photograph, your camera, on your phone, or what have you. When you want to your photo edits, Photoshop is the software you should pick. It's a software that is majorly for photo editing. It kind of does its own job for lines and shapes, but I tell you for a fact, it is best for photo editing. You don't need to bring it line drawings into it. It will not do it very well. And then I think the thing that you would have learned or known, raster software is blur. That means when you zoom into a software or you zoom into a graphic design that is vastly done in raster software, it begins to blur, pixelate. That's what rasters do. That's the idea of rasters. Raster images, raster files, they don't work well when you blow out the picture, you blow out the image. When you try to expand it, it doesn't work well with those. So it's just for images or files that you just want to work within it. You want to tweak it, but to blur. All right. You want to like photo editing, basically. All right. So if you want to do something that you want to magnify, you want to make it big scale, you want to make it larger, maybe for billboard or what have you, mostly you use vector graphics software to do those jobs. And CorelDRAW, Illustrator, which are the ones that we're going to be talking about, are the kind of software that will serve you well for this. Okay. Now somebody may ask, well, okay, if I want to put a picture on the flyer, for instance, or on the billboard design, that means will the picture going to blur? Yeah, but that's where you've heard of camera pixels. You know, they will tell you use a very good camera to take that picture so that the picture can be very bright and work very well. And when you expand the picture, it will still be clear enough, at least to a large extent. So that one has to do with camera. So let me just make it in a simpler way. Whenever you want to work with Photoshop, it means that software, that file should be something you've taken from a camera or from a phone, a picture. That's what I mean. And then if you want to work with Illustrator or CorelDRAW, it's something you're going to be drawing from scratch. You can design from scratch. You can make your illustrations. If you check Google, if you check any of these online softwares, Facebook, they mostly work with illustrations, you know, rather than using pictures. So if they want to show somebody using a phone, they don't use a picture of somebody that they've taken holding a phone. What they do, they draw an illustration of somebody holding a phone. And that means they used any of these two softwares, either Illustrator or CorelDRAW, to do that job. So that's the kind of software that works well for drawings. Okay, and then the other one which I've mentioned is Photoshop, which is majorly used for photo editing. All right, if I want to cut this picture, this man, if I want to cut him out from the background and put him on another background, I will use Photoshop to do that job, to do the cutting him out. If I want to tweak his head, I want to make his color look more vibrant, I will use Photoshop to do the job as well. If I want to change the color of his hat, because maybe the picture, or maybe I want to use his picture for glow, and glow is synonymous to green. We mostly use green for their designs. I would use Photoshop to change the color of his hat or the color of his top to be green using Photoshop, because Photoshop is the software for photo editing. Illustrator and CorelDRAW is not going to do the job for that. Okay. So now I have done the overview. I'll be jumping into the softwares one by one. And then I'll be doing something little with them. I will do something little with CorelDRAW, The same thing I will do with CorelDRAW, I'll do it on Illustrator, seeing they're the same, they work on the same thing. Then I will do something else on Photoshop. Okay, I don't know how many minutes I spent, but I would stop a little and allow for questions if you want to say one or two based on what I have said so far. Okay, so I think I should also say this for what I have on my screen now. So logo designs, if you are designing logos, if you are drawing, as you can see the picture of that girl, this is what you use vector softwares for. So if I want to do a logo, I use the vector software. All right, if I want to draw a character, all right, you use the vector software. That's CorelDRAW or Illustrator. Okay, you see it? So that's where it goes. So if you want to be a logo designer in the future, or you're trying to push yourself in that career of logo designing, just logo designing, it's good. You need to work very well and get your hands strong on these two softwares, CorelDRAW or Illustrator. These are the two software that will serve you well if you want to put your career in logo designing. The same thing for character designing. You want to design characters. You're drawing your character design, everything. Best you use in CorelDRAW or Illustrator. Okay, so that's that. And then things like even designing any kind of designs you want to make, vector software serve you well. You know, just note that raster, which is the one I mentioned for Photoshop, it's just for photo editing. Many people still use this to design flyers. It's not a problem. It's just that you already know that if you want to print it out, right? That is where the problem will start for me. If you want to start printing out your designs, you have problem printing out a design that you've done on Photoshop because it will not come clear. It will give some issues. Even if you convert it to PDF, there will be some issues. Many of the printers or the printing companies, when they ask you for their material, they will mostly ask you, send us your AI file or send us your CorelDRAW file, because those are the two they know, basically. All right, so you just have that at the back of your mind that if you want to go into printing and you want to now start having jobs, it's good you understand these two softwares under Vector. They will help you and help in the printing business. Okay, so I think I can now allow for questions. If you have any question you want to ask, you can drop it on the chat. I will be able to answer at least, let's say, give a 5 or 6 before we jump into the softwares fully. All unmuted.
Hello, good morning.
All right, good morning. Please, what's the name?
My name is Mukhtar Yusuf.
All right.
Mukhtar Yusuf. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
I
Yes, I
just
can
want
hear you,
to,
Mr. Yusuf.
okay, I want to confirm that if I can understand you very well.
Yes,
You
please.
said for graphic design now, basically we have two software that we can use, which is CorelDRAW and Photoshop.
Okay, so for graphic designing is the 3 softwares, but
Okay.
two work very well with printing. When you want to design and print, it works well with CorelDRAW and Illustrator, which are vector softwares, right? Now, photo editing is what we use Photoshop for. That's why it's really called Photoshop. But I said some people use it to design. You can design flyer with Photoshop. You can design anything with Photoshop. But the problem is Photoshop does not work well with printing. You get that part? That means when I want to print it out, let's see if you can see my hand. This is a book I'm holding here. This is a printed book, like diary. Now, if you want to do these 200 copies and print it out, if you do this design on Photoshop, when you are printing it out, you have problems. You have so much problem that you say, why did I even start? But you will have done your design very well on Photoshop because it can still do the colorings and everything. But it's best to use software like CorelDRAW or Illustrator to design this because you're going to print it out. All right, Mr. Yusuf, do you get that? Do you get it now?
Yes. Thank you very much.
So the 3 softwares work well, but those 2 are good for printing. All right, Mr. Shago, can you unmute?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tony.
Yes, please.
Okay, so You mentioned something about the billboard, like if you want to do adaptation of creative on billboard. For example, if you want to magnify, if that's a picture on a very huge big board, like the one we
Yes,
see on
on the road.
what's it called? You know, the companies use like this brewery, Nigerian brewery.
Yes, yes,
If you
yes.
know, towards Apapa, there's this big billboard there, and
Okay,
there's a
okay.
picture
Exactly. Yes.
there. So
Yes.
now, how do you now do it so that it will not be it will not blow off the raster?
Double. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I like that question. So that's where photography comes in. Yes. So what happens is before they take the picture of the characters you want to take a picture of, because the person who is taking the picture already knows beforehand that this picture is going to be used for adverts. And it might also be placed on big size designs like billboards, like big size 6 or 7, 70 foot, whatever. Now, they already know how big it is. Like even for buildings, sometimes they want to put the whole design on a building, like the ones you see on when you get into a checking point or so. Now, they already know that. So the photographer who knows that should make sure he's using a camera that can render as much as possible, more than, if not 300 to 400 megapixels. So they are taking cameras that, not just phone cameras for now. There are cameras that can capture higher pixels. Because when we mean pixelate, when we say it's blur, it means that the number of pixels were small. For instance, if I take a phone and the phone is using 64 megapixels, 64 megapixels means under the word mega. Let us remove the mega. Let us say 64 pixels. Let us say 64 pixels. That's what it means is, I'm removing mega now so I don't confuse. 64 means the boxes. When you take a picture of something and you're expanding it, the square, those squares you see on the screen that is showing that it's pixelated, let us say it's up to 64. That's what I'm trying to give you now. It's up to 64. It means the more you expand, those boxes will be becoming visible. It's now showing that the picture is blurring. You are seeing some squares on the screen as you're expanding the picture. That picture is becoming blurry and blurry. These small squares. I don't know if I can go online and show you what I mean. But if you understand me, when you're expanding a picture, you start seeing some squares. Those squares are what we call pixels.
Yes. Yes.
And it means the picture is becoming blurry already. Now, if you use a camera that has a lot of pixels already, 400, 500, even 1,000 megapixels. Yes, there are cameras like that are more than safe. It means there are many more pixels that would, or many more boxes that it will not render immediately. They will still be tiny because there are many more. Let me put it this way: if I put 5 squares on a paper, the 5 squares will show very well. But if I put 1 million squares on a paper, they will not show very well because they're tiny. They're tiny. They're all tiny because 1 million squares on a paper now is going to be very tiny. But if I put only 5, it will show because the 5 will fill the whole paper. It will show clearly. So that's what I'm trying to say. So when they're doing pixel, they're going to do designs for a big board, they use a very good camera that will capture it in a nice way that they already know that if they expand the picture to a level, it will not pixelate. It will still be bright. So this is where photography comes in. So if you are going into photography and you're going to be editing those photographs, so photographers use Photoshop and they use a very good camera to take those pictures so that it will render very well. So that's what I'm just trying to say in a nutshell. I don't know if I've answered your question, Mr.
Thank you very much. Very clear.
All right. Mr. Daniel, please, you can unmute.
Good morning, sir. My name is
morning.
Ayodiji Daniel.
You're welcome.
I just want to confirm something. You said, I just want to ask, so you're advising us to use CorelDRAW for our design instead of using Photoshop. So Photoshop basically is just for editing of pictures. That's what I just want to know.
Yes. Okay, so I want to be categorically clear so that I will not mislead. I'm not saying Photoshop will not help you for your designing of your flyer. But where the problem is, okay, let me put it this way. Apart from normal designing, apart from vector and raster, there's what we still call print and screen. Print and screen. I would have also mentioned it initially, but I think your question is good. It's leading me there now. Print means you are designing for printing. You are designing for printing, meaning when you are finished designing, you are going to send it to a printer that will print it out, maybe 100 copies, 1,000 copies. Maybe you are in a church, and you are designing flyers for a church program. That means after you are finished designing, somebody is going to print it for you 1,000 times so that you can share it around to the congregation, right? All right, that is what we call print designing. That's for printing. Now, this is what we call screen. Screen designing means you are designing, but nobody would print it out. You are going to be using it for social media. Maybe I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm going to put it on Instagram. I'm going to put it on, what do you call it? Any of the social medias, I mean. You're not going to print it out. It's going to be for screen. So print design is for printing. Screen design is for screen, meaning it's for only for computers and design. And they will not look at it on a paper. They will be looking at it on a screen. Now, if you are using Photoshop to design your flyer, it's going to work well with your screen. I mean, you're not printing it out. So you can use Photoshop to design. As long as you're not printing, you can put it on your Facebook or your Instagram. It's going to work well. Nobody will give you any problem. But as long as you are going to print, do not use Photoshop. Because Photoshop will now mess you up where you send it to the printer in PDF. And when the printer prints it out, you will see that the color does not come out the way you saw it on your screen when you are designing it. So that's another part of the problem. The problem is not only about the blurring, it's also about the coloring. Raster colors are different from vector colors. And all these things, you will learn this part when you are doing it in the physical class. There's what we call RGB and CMYK. But I don't want to start saying this now. It's better you will see this when you come into physical class. The RGB, you would have been hearing this RGB thing, and CMYK. CMYK is for printing. RGB is for screen. And so RGB works for Photoshop. That's what I'm saying. So those are the things you also learn when you come to the physical class. So in a nutshell, Mr. Daniel, if you want to be going into printing, designing, you use CorelDRAW or Illustrator. But
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
you want to be designing and it's for flyer. You get it now?
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. One more person before I jump into software fully. Is there any question? Let me check the chat. I have one chat that's open now. Okay. There's I don't know whether she wants to ask. I say yes, but no question. If you want to say, okay. Mr. Matthew, please unmute.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Thank you so much for your lecture this morning. We appreciate you. My question is basically on your picture when you are designing for either flyer. Okay, let's say you are not told that they are going to be doing a banner, but they just told you should do a design for flyer. Okay. Now you have finished what you are doing, and because you talked about the sizes of the picture now, and later you now got to that they want to also print it on a banner, which is going to be maybe 6 by 6, 10 by 10. And maybe the picture they gave us, the stretch, the how stretch you can go is now something that you cannot stretch when it's going for banner. So my question is, for your work before you start, do you need to ask, or what are the questions that a graphic designer need to ask before embarking on a job? Because let's assume that they've told you that, okay, they needed it for
I think I get you, Mr. Matthew. What are the questions you are meant to ask before you begin your work, before you start designing?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. So, one thing is, before you begin designing, if somebody says, design me a flyer that I want to share for my congregation or something, the first question you ask is it a print or a screen flyer? Is it going to be for print, or you're going to put it on your social medias? Because another thing you should understand is there's a size that you use for most of your printing. There's a different size for social medias. And not just only for social medias, even the different social medias have their sizes as well. So the question goes this way. First, is it print or is it screen? The person tells you it's for both. It means you who is designing, you're going to have 2 designs already. It means it's not the same design you design for print, you give the person for screen too. Because for instance, if you want to design for Instagram, it's a square shape size. It's size 1000 by 1000 pixels. If you're using pixels, it means it's not the same size you use if you're going to design something like a flyer. So already, you're going to have different designs already. Then you're not asking the person for the print. Maybe the person says print. Okay, for print, what size of flyer do you want? So that means the person must give you the size of flyer. There's letter size, there's A4 size, there's half of A4. So even for flyers, they will give you size. And then if it's for bigger size, they give you as well. So if you are also the person, because sometimes in graphic designing, you might not be the person that will take the picture. You might only be the person that will do the designing of the flyer. So if, for instance, somebody else is taking the picture, the person should also make sure he's asking words, majorly camera, people that do pictures, they already know that they must use a very good camera already. They can't be asking that kind of question, okay, because I'm going to do a small flyer, that means I should use a small camera, because they already know they will use a good camera already. But the thing there is that the person should also know what size of billboard, or what size of flyer, what have you, so that he knows what much he should take, the picture he should take, the size, how much of light should enter his camera to capture that picture, so that the picture is bright and it renders well on the software for it to be able to be blown to the magnitude it should be blown to. So, but basically, you who is a graphic designer should know what you're designing is either print or screen. And second question, what size of print, if it is print? And if it is on screen, what sites are you sending to? If it is social medias, you should know what sites. If it is Facebook, it has a size. If it's Instagram, it has their sizes. So that's why sometimes when they are designing something, if a graphic designer is designing something, he designs one design 5 times. He spreads one design 5 times. Apart from them choosing, he also designed that same one design in 5 different formats, so that the person can use it for any of his platforms. If you want to put it on WhatsApp, just for your profile picture on WhatsApp, it has its own design sites, so that all the pictures shows, all the images shows. So, you need to know your sizes. That's another thing for a graphic designer. You need to know your sizes. Yeah, and it's very, very, very important, both for screen and for print. All right. Mr. Matthew, I hope I have been able to drop that question to you. So that's what it is. You need to know your sizes, and also you need to make sure you ask beforehand. Thank you. I know there was one person. Thank you,
sir. God bless.
You're welcome. There was one person that raised his hand or her hand, and I feel I should answer the question before I move on. Okay. So far, no one else. Okay, so I will jump into the softwares now. We're only going to be talking on these 3 softwares which I've been talking all about: Illustrator, CorelDRAW, and Photoshop. So I'll start with Illustrator. I'll just be showing you the overview. Take note, today is not to talk about the software in depth, but that will be another time. So what I will do is just be showing you the software and what you can do. So beginning with Illustrator. Okay. So this is Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator is a software. If you can see my screen, a thumbs up, please. Just to be sure that you can see my screen. I'm on the software now. All right, thank you. Okay. All right. Before I go on, let me just answer this question. There's a question on the chat that I just so from Abdul Wahab Matebo, I can see, can a print design be used for a social media as well? Now, if you have finished designing it on your computer already, it's still screen. If you have designed your work already on this computer, it's still a screen. But once you print it out, it becomes print. If you know what I'm trying to say now. What I mean is, if you are saying after you finish printing it out, you now want to bring it back on the screen, it cannot work. But if you are designing on the computer, and then the person you are designing for now tells you, oh, that design that I told you for print, please, you're also using it for screen. What you need to ask the person, or for social media, I mean, what you need to ask the person is, what media account do you want to use it for? Is it Instagram? That means you who is designing, you need to change the resolution. You need to change the resolution. Instagram resolution is different. Even the reel and the normal Instagram page, they are different sizes already. So you need to know the sizes you need to use them in. Okay, so Mr. Wahab, Abdul Wahab, I mean, if somebody tells you afterwards, after you're finished designing for print, that it's also for social media, you need to ask the person what social media account or what social media platform do you want to drop it in, because it has the sizes. That means you have to tweak it to that size. All right, Mr. Israel says, please, what if you are just good at Photoshop and you want to print? Is there a possibility? The possibility is very slim, very, very slim. So slim that I don't think I should even tell you it's going to work. If you are designing very well in Photoshop and you want to start printing, mostly you will need to convert it to PDF. And when you send your PDF, the colors don't come well. The colors will come very poor. So if you have used flashy colors on your design and you now put it on PDF and you send it to the printer to print it out, the colors will be dull. The flashy colors that you saw on your screen when you're designing, they will be dull when they print it out. It will be so dull. It's the same way as the pictures will be very somehow. So it will not work well for you. So better just don't even. I think if you want to go into printing, you need to learn this CorelDRAW or Photoshop. And most of the printers, they still use CorelDRAW printers. That means the printer still reads files that are in CorelDRAW, okay, and AI. So you have issues already. Okay, Mr. Timothy said, what are the functions of resolutions? Resolutions is very, it's one thing that you need to also be very sure of, because that's still part of the, what allows the picture to be bright, to be clean and clear, resolutions. It's like a television set. When you take your television set, is a 1080 by 19 by 20 pixels. That's the brightness of that design. The same thing. So if your resolution is poor, that means when you print it out on whatever you are using it for, even for social media, it will also be poor. Sure, some people says, if you are designing for screen, use the biggest resolution because it's for screen already. The only problem is that the file will be heavy. The file will be heavy, if you know what I mean. That means if the file is meant to be 300 kilobytes, it might be 5 meg. So it will be heavy to load. It will not load fast, but it will be very clear. So the resolution is very important for clarity of your design. All right. For every other question I've not answered, please I'll pen it now, then I'll come back to it. Thank you. Okay, so this is Illustrator. The Illustrator's interface is almost like every other of their interface. Take notes, Illustrator and Photoshop are from the same company. They are from the same company. They are from Adobe. Adobe is the company that works with this software, basically. And so their interface is the same. All right. And also this, that if you are working with Illustrator, easy for you to be jumping from Illustrator to Photoshop. What I mean is, if I'm editing a picture in Photoshop and I want to carry that picture and drop it on Illustrator, but still be editing the picture on Photoshop, these two softwares will work very well. I can be editing the picture on Photoshop and still be using the picture on my flyer on Illustrator, and it will work very well. Why? Is because the two softwares are on this under the same platform, the same company, if you know what I mean. So that means you can open the two software side by side, be editing the picture on Photoshop and also be putting the picture on Illustrator, and they will be synchronizing. So if you change the man's hat from red to blue on Photoshop, once you just come to Illustrator, the man's hat will change already because it synchronizes very well. So many people like to use Illustrator and Photoshop because they already synchronize. All right, but CorelDRAW is not from the same company of the two. So it means when you use the picture on CorelDRAW, or rather on Photoshop, and you bring it to Illustrator, there's something you need to do first. Because they're not from the same company. But I think nowadays, I hear now the new Photoshop platforms are really tweaking it very well to help everybody. Yeah. So Photoshop 2020, 2021, I'm calling the different versions of Photoshop now, the newer versions. CorelDRAW 2020, CorelDRAW 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, I think. Those ones now, they're trying to adapt it and you can be doing it the same way you're doing Illustrator. But older versions of CorelDRAW, you have to save the Photoshop first, your Photoshop design of your picture, before you can import it into CorelDRAW. All right. I don't know whether I've made that clear, but that's just the way it is. It's because there are two different companies. All right. So that's that. So on Illustrator, what you will notice is that everything on Illustrator are in they call them dockers. They're like panels that you can move around. You can drag these things around and move them around. This is easy because they want you to be able to customize your interface. So all these dockers, you can move them around and drop them. All these panels, you can move them around and drop the panels wherever you want the panels to be. Is why the reason is because they want you to customize your platform. It's almost like any other softwares. At the top, you have your menu, file, edit, object, type, style. Those are called your menus. They are the things that you need to know first. Whenever you open any software, always learn the things you see at the top where my mouse is moving. These are the things you need to learn first. You need to know what is inside edits, object, type, and the rest, because these are the same things you'll be using in your designing. Your select, your type, and the rest of them. The next thing you need to learn, very importantly, is your tools. And all the software, they have what we call tools. That's the things you see me moving now. Because these are the tools that you'll be using to edit, to magnify, to manage your designs, to type your text, to draw your shapes, to add colors with the paint buckets and what have you. So that's the tools. And then at the side here, you also have panels here that also assist in your designing from the right-hand side. So if you follow my drifts, what I said is, first thing, learn what is on top here, which is the menu first, which won't take you time to learn these ones. And then you need to learn, most importantly, the tools, because the tools are what you'll be working with. And then you also need to learn what's on the right-hand side, which are the panels. And once you've learned this, according to this order, the software is a software that is good for you to go. Also, you've also learned the principles of designing, because the principles are what will back you up in your designing. Yeah. If you have understood the principles very well, you will know how to work with colors. You will know what to do with alignment. You will know how alignment helps you in structuring your design. You will know what balancing is. I know these are the things you will learn from Monday to Wednesday. Balancing, to balance your design. Contrasts. These are the things, because they are, if you look at this design here, you can see on the screen, the colors are managed very well. Where red is at one side of the screen, is worked at another side of the screen. It balances. So if you see red here, and you didn't put red somewhere else, you're not balancing. So there will be, it will be mixture in the eyes of what somebody who is looking at your screen. Okay, so that's that. And this design was for screen. So this for Instagram. So it's square. This design you see on my screen is for Instagram. So it's not going to be printed, even if I'm using Illustrator, apparently. But I use the formats to do that. So basically, if you want to design from scratch, if you click on File, New, it will show you this screen. All right. This screen is the screen that would be the first screen that will be introduced to whenever you want to design from scratch from the beginning. Okay. This up here tells you to type the name of the design you want to design. Maybe I want to design for Tola, other Tola design 1. Tola design 1. All right. When you come to profile, it asks you what I have mentioned initially, but I've noticed I talked about screen and prints. So you can see that's already showing for us here. If I want to do for prints, I'll just click on prints. All right. If I want to do for screen, I can choose any of the screen devices. I can choose the device I want to do it for. If I want to do it for a video, for a movie, I can choose. It doesn't matter. All right. But basically, if I want for prints, I click on prints. Now, if you see, as I'm changing it, something is happening down here. That's very important, because it's telling me now that if I want to do for prints, I need to understand print size. But if I want to do for screen, it changes from print size to pixels, because screen is mostly in pixels. Yeah. But if I want to do for prints, it leaves it in millimeters, because majorly, measurements is standard measurement, centimeters, millimeters. So you see, so it's basically just aligning what I'm saying. And did you notice something down here? You see that this changed to CMYK. It was not CMYK when I said web. When I said web, it said RGB, because I just said initially that RGB is for screen. Web is on the screen. Websites is on screen. Right? So you see, it's aligning. So meaning that, for instance, Illustrator is trying to make me understand also that if I want to design for screen, I should know that it's different from print, and the colors will also differ. That's what Photoshop will not do for you. Yeah, Photoshop won't do all this for you. Photoshop will only give you RGB. Photoshop will not give you CMYK. And then you're having a problem when you want to print it out. So that's just to back it up. So let me choose prints, and then I can now choose what size of my print, letter formats. So you need to learn your measurements. I can't overemphasize that. You need to do your measurements in millimeters, in centimeters. Very, very important. A4, this is the measurement for that. All right, but you can also change it from millimeters to pixels if you choose to do that also. But you also need to know the measurement as well. You can also change it to centimeters. You can change the measurements. You can change it from landscape to portraits. That's what this one does here. And then there's what is called bleed, right? I don't know how I should explain it now. I know you'll be learning that. But let me give you an instance. Whenever you are printing in, there's a way these big printing machines work. When you put the design to print, it puts the design in one side, it leaves some spaces. Now, the space is intentional. Those spaces leaving on the paper is very intentional. The reason is because it knows that you need to cut it out, especially when it prints. It prints everything like in a, how would I put it now? In a stretch. So it will leave in some spaces intentionally. You will be the person that will be cutting it out. So the reason why this software is showing me bleed, it means it's telling me that you can intentionally leave 1 centimeter of space, or that's 1 millimeter, I mean. Let me change to millimeter. 1 millimeter of space, which is 0.1 centimeter. So that whenever it has done the print for you, you would know that 1 millimeter will be intentionally left for you to cut it out. So it does not cut your work or cut the design that you have done. Okay, that's what that means. So CMYK is CMYK. This is just your PPI as regards to pixel per inches, yeah. So visually, it's always good to leave it. You don't need to leave it in high. You can leave it in medium. It will still come fair for you. And then once you're done with that, you just click on OK, and the page comes up for you to design your work. So this is an A4 size, and then you can design. So if you can look at it very well, let me zoom in. You will see this red line. This red line is the bleed. It means that all my design will be done on this white paper. This extra space that is leaving here is going to come out, but this is what I'll cut out. When I'm printing it out, I'll cut this side out. So only what will be inside this white paper that will be left. That's what it just means. So I already know that already, so that I will just know, okay, I don't need to design anything and put it outside this white paper. If not, it will be cut out. So all my designs will be done inside the paper, and then you can now start to design it. So basically, using your shapes and what have you can then tweak your designs and do whatever you want to do within this space. Okay, so that's that for Illustrator, right? So I'm going to be jumping away from Illustrator now, and we're moving to CorelDRAW, and just show you the same thing as I have mentioned Illustrator, since they're almost doing the same kind of thing. So for CorelDRAW, its interface is like this. All right. For now, I'm using a lower version. Okay. But when we come next week, it will be a higher version. But the interface is the same. It still has the same construct. All right. Just that there are some tweaks as regards to the tools. All right. So the newer versions, what they changed mostly is the tools. And I think most of them are adding AI now into it, so that it can help you do some designs faster, all right? But outside that, it's mostly the same interface. So when you're on CorelDRAW, you first of all just click on New Graphics, all right? And it just jumps in. Okay, let me start from the beginning again so that it gives me that construct. Minutes. Okay, so I'll continue from here. Since I think I clicked on something that will just render me here direct. So for CorelDRAW, it's the same thing. Just the same thing, no difference. The measurement is here already for you, already. The size of paper is here already. Take note, CorelDRAW is just like for printing, clearly for printing. all right, like Illustrator. So it didn't even give me anything as regards to what do you call it, for screen. Nothing here is for screen. Everything it gives, okay, the screen here, sorry, the screen here, sorry, web page. Yeah, but you can see the magnitude of designs it gives me up here for print. All right, you don't let this button free for screen, web page, banner, web banner, but the rest of them all the way up. All right. Newer versions will give you more for screen. Okay. Then you will have your measurements, which is here, which you can tweak. Okay. You have the size in millimeters as well. The same thing. You need to learn all what is up here, which is the menu. Okay. And the menu with the Docker behind under it. And then after which you need to understand the tools. The tools very important because these are the things that you'll be using to do your designs. Okay, that you'll be using to do the designs. And then here at the right-hand side is your color. Okay, so you have the tool, your color over this at the right-hand side. Your Docker, as I've also mentioned for Illustrator, also at the right-hand side as well. So you have your CMYK. Okay. There's RGB as well, but majorly it's a very dropped CMYK because it's majorly for printing. So it's giving me CMYK. But you can choose RGB if you don't want to print, if it's for screen design. Okay. You will notice I'm not doing anything yet. I'm just showing the interface so that you have an idea of this. I'll do one or two on it, but I just wanted to see the interfaces of the three of them. So I'm going to open the last one, which is Photoshop, and you see the interface of Photoshop. So Photoshop's interface is almost like Illustrator, but note that its own is for photo editing. So it's just going to give you clearly RGB and go around that. So this is Photoshop's. All right, this is Photoshop's interface. Same thing, you can look at it. You almost think I opened Illustrator again but the only difference is the PS, because that one has AI. So the same thing, the menu up at the top. At the right-hand side, the tools, and then you have your Dockers or your panels at the right-hand side. The left-hand side, I mean, is the tools, and the right-hand side is the panels. Okay, so if I click on File and I say New, it shows me this interface, right? You see that immediately it gives me RGB. The other one was giving me click CMYK immediately because it knows it's for printing. This one just gave me RGB straight. It may show CMYK, but apparently this is for screen. All right. If I click on the clipboard, I can choose let's say US paper. Letter. I'm going to see whether I can pick up A4 now. International paper, yes, A4. Yeah, and the rest of them. It gives you your same design. It's not automatically changing this thing for me to CMYK. If you understand, Illustrator immediately will just change it for you because it's giving you directly that this is for print. This one is you that will be the one that will change it to CMYK, but it has changed it back to custom. Wants you to now ask, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then you are the one that will say, well, I want to do an A4 paper, and then you can continue from there. All right. So once you click on OK, it brings the design out in the paper form. Okay, I can see a hand raised. I'm going to allow you to speak. I'm almost done with the interface. And then you can then start your design. These are the tools also by the left-hand side, which will assist your design. You would even notice, okay, that it looks less, okay, like now, if you notice when I drew shape, I drew a rectangular shape when I was using Illustrator. When I drew that same shape on this Photoshop, let me zoom in. It's looking different. And if I zoom in very well, I don't know if I'm zooming in, whether it's happening in your screen. I don't know whether it's happening in your screen as I'm zooming in. Can you see those squares that I'm showing now? This is Photoshop.
Yes.
This is what we call the pixelate. This will happen when you print this out if you are using Photoshop. All right. So that's what it is. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell. So I'm going to allow questions now based on the software that I've shown. Oh, I say I cannot hear. Was that clear? I wasn't talking to myself. Mr. Yusuf, I'm going to allow you to speak, but first of all, was I talking to myself or you could hear me? All is well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We
I
could
can
hear,
you.
we could hear you. Maybe
Okay.
some.
Maybe it's his network. We hear
Okay,
you very
okay.
clearly.
Okay, okay. So now ask your question
Mr.
based on the
Sulaiman,
software.
maybe you should log out and log in back. Maybe it's going to hear. So my
Yes,
question
yes.
is, you said earlier that whenever we want to design for customer, we should, for screening, we should ask that which type of social media is he using it for?
Yes.
Because you said the Facebook is different from Instagram and any other. So how can, from this interface you show us now, how can we
Yes.
identify the type of social media we want to use the design for? I
Very
don't
good
think you
question.
get my question.
I get a question. So even in the software, you are asking, there are some software, yes, the software can tell you want to do for Instagram, to write Instagram. Is that what you mean? As it will write you, some of them will write you the name of the software that's, or the sites that you want to use it on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yes. It's newer versions will do that. Now, let me explain. Let me put it this way. I like that you asked that question. So for instance, I'm sharing Illustrator back for you now. This is Illustrator. Now on Illustrator, if for instance, I want to do it on Instagram, you know, that's why I mentioned initially that you need to know your sizes. Now, if I click on new and I come back here and I know Instagram is a web, Instagram is not a print. So basically, I'm not going to be using A4. I will be clicking web. Okay, or even phone, but let me click web. Now, you see, this has changed already. Remember, when it was print, it showed me A4 and this changed to millimeters. When I click on web, it changed to, what do you call this now? Pixels. Now, on my own, I would have gone to Google and type, should I even do it? Let me do it. Let me not be talking. Let me do it, please. I'm going to stop sharing and open my browser. I think I should do that way, so that I make it very clear. So I'm going to share my browser with you so that I'm going to clarify this. So this is what I mean. On your browser, if I just come here and I type Instagram page size. Instagram page size. Did you see that he wrote Instagram page size on Photoshop? I don't know what I should.
Yes, exactly. I saw it.
This is because Photoshop is for screen already. Do you get it? They didn't write Instagram page size for Illustrator or CorelDRAW, but they know those ones for print. Because everybody who is going to do for screen would have used Photoshop. So this is the size, 1080 by 1080 pixels already for posts. Then there's a portrait post, and then there's a square post. Now, I told you square post. So I just need to know it's 1080 by 1080. Now, if I come back to my Illustrator or Photoshop, anyone, this one I can use Photoshop because I already know it is for a screen. I'm not printing it exactly. So if I come back here and I say my new, and I change this to web, I just need to change this one to 1080 and change the other one to 1080. Yeah, and I'm done. I don't need any bleed. You know why I don't need bleed? Because I'm not printing it. I don't need to tear it out. It's a screen. It's a design for screen only. So I just click on OK, and boom, this is where I'll do my design on. Square. I designed this one finish. I send it to the client. The client will put it on the social media. Work has been done already for him. But you know, if I come back to my browser and I say social media and I do Facebook, it's going to give me another site. So the person, I should know the sites. If I say for Facebook, it might give me another size. Where is it? Because they are different. There is 1080 by this. They are Facebook size are different. So you hardly see square. There's no square. It's Instagram that has square. Facebook didn't give me square. So I have size as 2-in-1. That's 2.7 by 1. I have size by like 1 by 91. And 1.9, I mean, 1.9 by 1. And I have 16 by 9. I think mostly for Facebook, people use video size. The size for video. Since the same page that will be for video will be for screen. So they use 1020 by 720 pixels. if you're using pixels, basically, because it's screen. So they use 16:9 mostly. So if I'm a designer, because when you start designing, you already know all the size already in your head. So when someone says, okay, I'm going to put it for my social media, Facebook, Instagram, you who is designing will design one for Facebook, design one for Instagram. I mean, it's the same design, but you're using different resolutions so that it will fit the person's screen very well without showing space. All right. If you have watched some videos that the person videoed it on landscape, on portrait, I mean, when they put that portrait video on a landscape paper or a landscape screen, it will be in the middle. There will be space at the right and the left hand side. That's not a very good way to video. You know the video size that you want to put it on so that it will stay on it, feel the screen very well. That's the same thing for graphic design. So feel the screen
Sorry,
very well.
but we can still use this photo, Facebook photo post, which is 1200 by 630.
Yes. So you can still use it. All this photo post is for, I think it's for those photos. Let I open my Facebook. There's some photo size that it's not full screen, it's half in. So that's what this that's what that 630 means. So it's done this way. That's if you know what I mean by length and breadth. You understand length and breadth, right? Length is the long, that's from left to right. Then breadth is from up to down. From up to down. So if you hold a paper like this, let me hold the paper like this. Let me hold the paper. If you can see my hand. So if you can see my hand, this paper I'm holding, there's my camera so I can see myself too, to be sure I'm doing very well. This paper I'm holding like this. From this side to this side. From this side to this side. Is that 1,200 pixels? That's 1,200 pixels I'm saying. Then from this side to this side. From this side to this side. That's the 630. So you see, this side to look like on the screen. It will be landscape. You get it now?
Okay.
So that's so if you want to so that's the idea of the landscape and portraits for the graphic design. So mostly you who is a graphic designer, you would have googled the sizes. You would have you have numbers in your head in millimeter, in pixels, in centimeter. You should know design sizes because that will help you. So sometimes the clients, they don't know size. They will just say, design something for me. They don't know what they want the size to be like. You need to be the one that will be telling them the size. Okay, maybe like as I showed you this paper now, because I know the size of this paper. I know already this is 297 millimeter by 210 millimeter. I already know the size. So the person, I don't want to be long like this. I'll just up it like this. Okay, you want up the size? I know I'm already giving you a different size already. You understand? So like A4, A5, A6, that kind of thing. So if I up it again, I'm going another size again. You get it? So like this is what mostly they use for flyer. You get it? So this is like quarter of A4. So quarter of A4. So if I want to design this one, I know how I will do it on the prints as well as even on the screen. Okay. I think Mr. Shegun, I think, why do you want to ask him?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So you mentioned that, for example, when the job is finished and maybe the client, for example, this is just an example, a scenario now.
Yes.
Perhaps you finished, the client briefed you that it's for the screen. Yes. And you've done all the job is complete.
Yes.
Then the client now later tells you that no, we would like to print it. Is it going to be, and you have completed all the adaptation, I'm talking about maybe a whole project now.
Yes.
To keep the customer and not to keep the relationship.
Yeah, right. Yes, I get you.
That's number one. And also, how easy is it to now adapt what you have done, to transfer what you have done from Photoshop to Illustrator? Is this something that is it as easy as changing it to PDF?
Yes, just change it to PDF and go into Illustrator and convert it back to AI.
You get my question.
I get your question very clearly. We too will do it. We too were also in that same shoe where sometimes they call us and say, we're done with we're putting on our social media, but we just found out that we are not able to get many people to check our social media. So we want to print it out and share it. Please send us a printed design too, so that we can print out. Yes, we also fall into that shoe. And we're also sometimes in that position to think that if we convert it to PDF and send it to Illustrator and bring it back to AI, it will work well. Now, it has its issues. It works. For the ones I have done, it works. But this is where the issues come in. One of the issues is colors. The color that you saw when you are doing it on Photoshop, when you bring it to Illustrator, the colors dials out. If it's a sharp red you use, the red changes. I know sometimes clients are very, very particular with the colors. If a color, because you will know what is something they call Pantone color. When you check for colors, every colors have a color code. So for instance, a red might be 691010. I will show you on the browser. So you might have RGB. I'm using RGB to mention it. That means more of red, less of green, less of blue. All the colors should get 100, right? Or something like that. Or 255, sorry. So maybe you have 255 for red, you have 10 for green, and 10 for blue. So that's not too much red, but at least reddish loud. So if you now finish doing that design on Photoshop, and now the person wants to now convert it to print, and you bring that design to Illustrator, that red will change. The red will not be that shame Pantone, it will douse. So you will now need to now start with tweaking. So it's not as if it will happen automatically. That's what I'm trying to make sure you understand. You are still going to tweak. You are still going to do some things. Even if you've converted from PDF back to AI, some things you need to touch again to make it fit in. So mostly what you can do is what good way to make it fast for everyone, and if you are doing design. Because there are some people that will use CorelDRAW that are very good in CorelDRAW, that are maybe not good in Illustrator. They can't convert. That one, they're already gone. How would they be able to convert it to PDF and bring it to CorelDRAW? Some CorelDRAW will not even allow it to render very well, to render it off. The man picture that you put very well on Photoshop, it will render it poorly on CorelDRAW. But the way you can do it is this: when you are designing, and this is what I would, well, when you have your physical class, this is what I would tell you people to do. Please note, a graphic designer does it in this way. When he's designing his work, he uses what we call, what I call it now, like templates. Let me use the word templates. He creates templates. So what I mean by templates, I mean every of his content he's using, he's saving them individually. All right, so your write-ups, maybe you wrote all your information, you wrote your name, you wrote everything. He saves them. He does not save them as text. He saves them as curved. It's not saved as text. Because when you carry that file and you drop it on that file, the text will change. So he saves them as curved. This is I'm saying. I know it's going to be something else. You're not going to get it well, but take notes. Next week, everything will be clear. So when you are done with your design on Photoshop and you save it, whatever you save as Photoshop, as PDF or PSD, you can also save the individual designs. Save only the picture without the information on its own. You're already there already. You can remove the picture somewhere else. Save only the write-up on its own. So when you're now told that, yeah, you want to make it a print and you now convert it to PDF, you're only converting the picture to PDF. You're converting the write-up to PDF. And when you bring them to the CorelDRAW, you bring them to Illustrator, you can now merge them back. Now the picture will not be off because the picture is on its own. Okay, or the text will not be off because they are on their own. Most times they will always be off because they are together. Most times it always happens like that. They'll be off because you just converted the PDF to Illustrator. The PDF picture now cannot be in front of, or the picture that you use on Photoshop cannot be in front of the text and or join with the text. When you are trying to drag the picture off, the text letter T will be following him. You will get, I don't know, I'm just saying, but you will get all this forward. So you will not feel frustrated. I have to now start designing it all over again because now the picture is not even, it's not tagging with the text together, or it's tagging with the color at the background, or it's tagging with. So it's good that you save them individually, just for the sake of it. Maybe you're already having a back of your mind and put them later. All right, and it's easy because you already done the design already. What you're just turning off some things and saving them. So when the person tells you, you just bring all those files as PDF and drop them on CorelDRAW or in Illustrator, and then bringing them back and adding them together.
Thank
Mr. Shegun, I don't know whether I've been able to, I know
Yes,
I
yes.
said it in a way that sounds, but I
Yeah,
hope
but
you
I,
get the
I
idea.
got the idea. But when you save them individually, you save them as .psd.
No, so newer versions. Why I'm saying this, because I'm trying not also, but I know there are times when your computer cannot run a newer version. Like CorelDRAW 2024, somebody's mic is up, sorry. Like 2024, CorelDRAW is very heavy. So there are some systems that cannot carry it. So you might want to fall down to lower versions. So what I'm saying this in a very loose way, because I know there's some systems that cannot carry heavy versions. Now, let me say it this way. First of all, note this. Newer versions of CorelDRAW, you can import PSD inside. Newer versions of CorelDRAW, you can carry PSD file and drop it on CorelDRAW and to work. You don't need to save it as PDF. But that's newer versions. They are heavy. Older versions cannot drop PSD inside. It would ask, I don't understand this file. That's if you are importing. So you have to do that one in PDF. All right. Now, the good thing about those ones I'm saying that are newer versions is when you now import the PSD inside CorelDRAW, that's the newer versions, you can still be tweaking the picture on Photoshop and automatically rendering the same way to be doing it on Illustrator automatically. So that one you won't have problem. You just save it as PSD to work automatically. But all the versions of the version that you can render or you can import is must be a PDF. And you cannot be able to edit the PDF again back in Photoshop. So you know that's where the problem is. So that's what
Thank you very much.
Just putting two things together. Yeah. All right. So is there any question again as regards to the software? Let me check the charts. Can hear you. So, thank you. Okay. But just to round off all what I've said so far, you should be able to understand one vector and one raster. Photoshop and Illustrator, or Photoshop and CorelDRAW. If your computer is a very good computer that works very well, please download the newer versions of these two softwares, which is the 2025. I think 2025 is now out, yes. 2025 is out, yes, for I think for Adobe, but it's we call it beta, the beta version. That one, they've added so many new features, there are AI and what have you. You can easily import immediately. It has more files you can import. You can render it immediately. But note that if you are doing something for screen and then you tell you to change it for print, you are still going to tweak it, whether it is a newer version or not. You're going to tweak it in many ways. So if you have done 1080 by 1080 already for Instagram, and they now tell you, I'm not going to the 1080 for printing, will change direction. Yeah, either the picture will not be somewhere else or what I mean. So those will be the tweaking that will happen. All right, so that's that. Mr. Parker, you can do it, please.
Now, I have little challenges on that. Firstly, let me thank Mr. Oladimeji for reaching out. I'm very grateful, sir. So on my challenge, I have tried several times to download, especially CorelDRAW, because I wiped my system because of some virus. So I wiped everything and tried to re-download most of all those applications back, but I'm unable to. It's telling me to pay, purchase, and all that. So what can I do about that, please?
Okay, so mostly all the softwares, not even this Adobe and Adobe we're all mentioning, and all the software companies now, they are really not dealing with CDs anymore. They are now working on cloud-based. Adobe has its cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud. CorelDRAW too has their own cloud-based, what have you. That means you hardly see CDs to buy. But for you, for this issue, because when you go online, you have to buy. And Adobe is not cheap. Adobe is not cheap. Adobe, CorelDRAW is not cheap. CorelDRAW last time was $320. $320, yes. $320. If you are using Naira to convert, so you know what it is. So what people do is you still go to Ikeja, you go to any of these places that sells CDs. people in Ikeja have already done it in a way that they download the cloud-based content and they convert it to CD. So you can still see 2024 and they crack it. So the crack means that you can install it on your computer. It will not give you any problem immediately. And you can still register. You can still register to the Adobe Cloud Storage. And it will allow you. They will not see that you're using a fake software. I don't know how they did it, the boys in Ikeja. So you can buy the CD, install it, and to render, it will run, it will not give any problem. They will not ask you for a code or anything, it just go automatically. I think it's CorelDRAW that will ask you for code, for keygen, to generate a key. That's CorelDRAW. The problem with CorelDRAW, like CorelDRAW's own is very, very technical. Whenever you're using CorelDRAW, you need to on the internet, because once you turn on your internet and you're using CorelDRAW, they would send, it will send a message to them from their, what do you call it, their center, wherever they are, that you are using a counterfeit software if you bought it, and it will block you immediately. So most of the time when people are using CorelDRAW, they turn off their internet, so it does not block them. Or when they are launching software, they turn off their internet, so it does not see it as their software. But otherwise, you buy the software from any of these retailers, you install it in their present though, so that they don't give you something fake. It will run. Most of the time, when they give you Adobe, they give you the Adobe suite. They give you everything. And Adobe has a very large amount of software. They have mostly video editing. They have everything in multimedia, web designing, what have you, Micro Dreamweaver. So you can tell the person that I just want Photoshop and Illustrator. You will have the way you do it for you. CorelDRAW is one hand. Just give you the software. And that's that. So you basically have to get the software.
But for now, we can't download it directly from online now.
Now you can't download directly unless you go to other sites that sells counterfeits. But that's not something I would advise, because you will not know whether that site has virus already. Yeah, there are sites that you go to that are selling the site that they have it free for you to download counterfeits. As in, when I'm saying counterfeit, I mean they already cracked it for you. The word crack means you already remove those things that Adobe will use to collect money from your hand. So it's free. But you don't know where those sites have virus in it that will contaminate your system. But those boys in the Ikeja that have already put in a CD, they would have already cleared everything that would cause any issue on your system. Those ones would have done all the job for you. So only what you just do is to install it on your computer. And you have the CD in your hand still. So if you want to format your system, you can format and still reinstall that software in without having any issue.
Please, can it be
on their channel?
Can it be available at the
physical?
Yes.
Would assist. Yes, please. Let me answer, please. Sorry. I get it, Mr. Yusuf. So what we'll do is this. On Monday next week, when we start the program fully as regards to the physical program, we'll use Monday, not all the day, all the Monday classes we'll still teach, but at least, let's say the first 2 or 3 hours, we'll make sure that everybody's software is running as much as possible. We are planning that one as well. So we're going to make sure the installation is done on your system, because we know truly it will be hard for you to get
please,
it.
For those of us in
yes,
hello,
I can
sir.
hear you.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
For those of us in cohort 2 that is coming, for those of us in cohort 2 that will be coming on Tuesday, please, you have to do the same for us on Tuesday too, because I'm currently not in Lagos. I'm coming back to Lagos purposely for this training. So, and since I'm in cohort 2, I'll be coming to the center on Tuesday. I'll be in Lagos by Monday evening, by God's grace, and I'll be coming to the center on Tuesday. So please, I would like you to please extend that privilege to Tuesday as well, being our first day of the training.
Yes, we'll do that, please. We'll do that. So we are doing it in this way. We're synchronizing Monday, and whatever we do to Monday, we do to Tuesday. So whatever we do to cohort 1, we'll do to cohort 2. If we touch cohort 1's hair, we will touch cohort 2's hair. And that's what I mean. So we're not going to differentiate. We're going to do the same.
All right.
Yes. So hopefully cohort 1 and 2, what it means is on Monday and Tuesday, because that is only the 2 days that will be done on Monday, Tuesday. I don't think there's a cohort 3, but I think it's majorly 2 cohorts. If there's a 3rd cohort, we'll be told. But we only use 1 day for each cohort. That means after those 2 days, or after those days initially, we will not be installing software anymore. We'll have to go where you can get it. After those 2 days, that means that day the person should come with a system, his computer system, which is something we're also advising, so that you can go home and continue learning. We'll be giving you practical assignments. We'll be giving you what do you call this one? Packages and sites you can go to get pictures. Because you see, as a graphic designer, one thing you should know at the back of your mind, we are all, and I'm going to use the word very crudely, so that I sound it clearly so you understand. We are all thieves. And that's the best way I can put it, that you will not say, what do I mean? We are thieves in this way. You have to follow the trend. And to follow the trend, you have to learn what the trends are doing. If you are designing something now, there's a trend, every new trend to design. And if you're not blending with that trend, you're designing your old normal way of designing, you'll be phased out. So what we do is this: whenever you're designing, you go online, you can for instance, Pinterest, many of us know Pinterest, which is one site that has pictures with the story. There are many AI sites that they have the same thing. I can't remember some now over my head. But Pinterest is what I will drop for you now. For now, you go online and type on Pinterest, what do you call it? Social media, social media church flyer banners, social media church banners for Instagram, for instance. It will give you so many designs, so many. You take your best 7 or best 6. You look at them. So, okay, I will take a little of this, a little of this, a little of this, a little of this, and I'll design my own using ideas from this point. You check the time these designs were posted. If they are posted recently, yes, these are recent ideas. You check some trended ones, you check it, and then use that. You're using 4 people's idea to form your own idea. 4 people that have done their own design, and you're forming your own. So you follow trend, because the person who is giving you that job has seen a design somewhere sometimes and wants you to do a design that he has seen. So it's better sometimes for you to work with what trend is flowing with. And if you check it, that's what designer, you check every church banner, it's almost looking the same. Part of that one side, the pastor's name. It's not as if they are doing it because they don't know what to do. They are following the trend. Yeah, and that is it. So we are thieves in that way, that you can really not coin anything from your head directly. You would have gotten ideas from places, and those ideas, you merge them together, form your own idea. And that makes your work easier. And that form builds your portfolio, because truly people always like what they have seen before. If you design something new, that means that you're something new. It's just a new trend coming in. And I mean, it's not just you that's bringing that trend. Other people are bringing it with you. That's why people are appreciating it. If you bring something new that nobody has done before, it takes a while before people will start appreciating it. That's the English I'm trying to say. It will take a while before people appreciate it. And sometimes you say, I see my best work, people are not appreciating it. It's because it has not entered the trend yet. So, you know, at the tail end, everything is the customer that's right at the end. That's why some people design some design. The customer will like it. And say, I like it. After 30 minutes, the customer will send you another chat. Please, can you change it? I have shown my people say they don't like it. It's because the people are following the trend and they have checked it at let him just do it like this. That somebody has shown me. Let him do it like this. So you need to follow the trend. And that serves you. It will serve you long term. You can be doing your own unique thing, you know. Your unique thing will still fall on trend one time. And that's that. But you know, for the sake of jobs, sometimes we just follow trend. When we see designs that are given to us, we take accordingly. Look for ideas, use the ideas and blend on it. For every single thing, put logo designing, flyers, complimentary cards, what do you call it? Cover letters, and all the likes. Okay. I think that was a question that was asked that I'm answering. I answered the question very well. Mr. Shegun, was it your question? Somebody asked a question that made me go that way. Okay, so I said, there's a trusted site online for crack software. Oh, goody. Yes, there are. There are sites. I don't want to share those sites because I think I should share the site when we are in physical. I will share the sites, but when we come physically, yes. Because most of the sites, you have to use torrents to download them. They are trusted sites, yes, I know. You have to use torrents to download them. You need to know how to download the torrents. All right, then can you make the e-software available when we come? Yes, I said that. So yes, we will. Stealing like an artist by copying and changing. Yeah, that's it. Stealing like an artist. That is a slang like that. Stealing like an artist. I think it's a slang that goes that way. Yes, Mr. Matthew.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tony. God bless you. I just want to start from what the last statement you made about, stealing ideas, stealing some of the things that you see out there. When it comes to logo designing, can you be accused of replicating someone else's logo? It's fine. The person has what he wanted about it. Let's ask him that. He saw the out and if he needed something, design something low. Or maybe just change it. You can just change the color. Can you be accused of replicating somebody's
I got your question to a far level. I know your network was really complicated for stealing someone's design. Please, I need to put my two hands together to say this. I did not say, I think I used the wrong word, but I think I will clarify with this one. I didn't say you should do exactly what the person did. That's why I said click 7 designs. So let me use logo to start first. If the logo is for an oil company or a hospitality or medicine, medical, maybe hospital logo. A company says a company into medical care and what have you. Give you a job to design their logo. They're just coming new. Now, this is what I would do. Let me use myself for example. First of all, I would have already asked the person, what's the color of the logo? These are the questions I'll ask a company that wants to do a logo. First, what's your company about? It says for medicine, medical company. I say, good. Second question I ask them is, what is your brand identity? What's, apart from your company's services, what your company is going to service? What's your brand identity? What is your core values? Core values has color. We'll talk about that one later. Core values, there's color for core values. Integrity has a color. Steadfastness, confidence, there's a color Pantone for steadfastness. So I ask these questions. So all these questions is from the company. It's not that I'm checking it on the internet. They are the one telling me. I ask them their core values. I ask them what the company will be rendering. What's your company's what mission? And other things I'll ask them that they will give me as regards to their company's services and what have you. Now, those information are from the company directly, so I keep it somewhere. It means the colors I'm going to be using for the company. If the company already have color, I'll ask them, what's your color? What's the color Pantone? They'll give it to me. If they don't have, I will use from the colors there, from these core values that they're giving me. Now, that is for their designing. What I will use, what I will steal from the internet is this. I will go online to the internet. I will look for logos that are under medical care, like 7 or 8 companies that are doing medical care. I will check what is synonymous with all of them. And if you check very well, you will see that what I'm saying is also on point. If I am doing something that regards to Medicare, they always mostly use a color green somewhere. Same thing with agriculture. That means even if the company did not say green, I will be thinking, okay, I should have a green somewhere. You should have a green. Come on, you're in medicine. Or things that aligns with, most times companies want their company name. Things that aligns with medical care. And most of these companies that are into medical care, they will do the same thing too. If it's into petroleum, you will see petroleum companies, they will put something like a fuel, like a drop of fuel, like a drop of a fuel gauge or drop of water. I don't, is it
like you mean for pharmaceutical company that will use cross?
Now you're not getting what I'm going. It's not as if they are copying anybody. It is just a format, and which you want to tag to that format. It's something that will let them know that this company is aligned with this particular field. It's natural. So it's not if you copy. I'm not saying you go and look for one logo, for instance. I just think and use it. No. You're not it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you are taking an idea. It's the idea that you're going to use to design your own. not the design itself. So if I'm saying you're using a flyer of somebody, a company that is doing food, a food company, in the person's flyer, they put all the food on the table and a chef, a white chef, is holding a spatula. Now, if I want to copy that design, I will not use a white chef, it was a Nigerian company. I will use a black chef, right? I would also maybe use an idea or maybe tell the photographer, take pictures in this kind of way and get somebody that we can hold spatula on the hand here. So you see, that's the idea. You're not copying exactly. You're using the idea because the flyer looks more presentable in that way for a food company. So that's the same thing for logo design and what have you. It helps you, one, to make your job done faster, because if you are a person that have many clients coming in and you're now thinking from scratch all the way, you will be held for a time being. But if you are able to find ideas from different places and bring them together to make them, you will be faster in your job done than otherwise. So that's what helps you get your job done faster. Yeah, Mr. Matthew, I hope I was able to help you out with that question.
Very clear, sir. Very clear. Thank you, sir.
Yes, I see Mr. Daniel says in the medical field, they use blue sky. And yeah, yes, so that's it's very cross with the snake. Yes, I think that's for medicine as well. Yes. So
Can I quickly ask this question, sir?
Yeah, yes.
So how long must I or should I keep the client's job? Because
how long should you keep your clients? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, my client's job. Let's say I've finished and I'm done with it. How long? Because I've seen people coming back to like, oh, something you did so time, I want it again. So how long should I keep some of the advice?
A very good question. Well asked. Now, it's very, very important. And all this I said will be talked about next week, but it's good I can say this as well, that you build a portfolio. Now, you're building your portfolio. It's not that you're saving it on your computer. Build your portfolio means there are channels online, many channels that I don't mention any, but for instance, Behance. But there are channels online that you can put all your design there. Yeah, you're not telling, it's your own design. You're the one that design it now. It's your own basically design. And that's a follow-up of what I said about stealing. You're not stealing the idea. You're not stealing the artist's work. You're stealing the idea that the artist used to design that work. So that basically is your own design. The artist who is seeing the design later is not saying, this is my work. He will not know you use his idea to design your own work. Okay? But it's just an idea that you took. So when you're done with your design, your graphic design for a particular client, all the work, maybe you have done like 4 or 5 or 6 different clients' work for 6 months, they didn't call you for something related to that same work. On your own, all this work should be stored somewhere on cloud. You should have a cloud-based storage already for yourself, and or a place where you put your portfolio. Because when a new client comes in, the first thing the client will ask you is, I want to see your work. So you can't have works that you've done, and maybe because the client did not call you again, you delete his work and say, I've done his work already. No, don't do that at all. Be saving your work somewhere, your work. Maybe your best work, what have you, just save your work, dude. Everywhere, save it in your cloud storage. Purchase your cloud storage online. There are many cloud storage you can purchase for yourself online. Or have a site that's you can keep a portfolio where you can share, and all your works are stored there. So if your client calls you tomorrow, you can download the work. You can have the cloud for your, source file. They call it source file, like PSD, like AI, like CorelDRAW, CDR. Keep them on the source file in your cloud storage. Then your portfolio, where you keep only the JPEG, the PNGs, so that one can be viewed. All right. So whenever you are called later, help us talk that work. That work you did for us 6 months ago. Want you to do something for us, they will pay you. Just go back to your storage, your cloud storage, download it, and continue from there. It's very, very easy, so that you don't store many things on your computer. Otherwise, get many hard drives down, external hard drives, so you can copy files and be keeping them, because you need to have your files, you need to have your portfolio, your storage, because these files, you will need them another time to do something. Not only for the same client. You might want to use the same design for one client, for another client after many months. It's good that you have it down so you make your job done faster. Note that there are many graphic designers in Nigeria and everywhere. What makes a graphic designer better than another graphic designer is how fast you can do a job. I tell you, if a client gives you a job in the morning and 3 days later you have not been able to serve him the job, he starts losing confidence. But if a client gives you a job 5 o'clock this morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, or let me say 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 9:30 you have given him 5 different designs already, and one of them is one he likes, and then maybe he gives you a friend. I say, hey, my friend has called to design something for him, and maybe by 10 o'clock you serve him to his own design. This man is just dropping our design fast. You're already a star. So it's 2 things: it's how fast you can do the job, as well as how good you can do the job. And mostly a designer who already have many designs he has done in the past, stored somewhere, mostly just go back to his old design, tweak it. And when I mean tweak it, he's changing so many things drastically and resend to a new client. At least the 2 clients don't know themselves. They don't know themselves. They will not know that, this one has done this kind of job for this person before. You've changed so many things. This is the business aspect I'm talking to you about. To get cloud storage or store your works. Okay, so this is 10:48. As regard to the software, is there any question as regard to the software again? The 3 softwares I can run over. That's what my today is for. I think so far, actually the idea you took online, the person also stole it from somewhere since the software designer. Mr. Yusuf, you are not wrong. Now, here's the idea you are stealing. And I like that you're saying this that way. An idea is abstract. You cannot quantify idea. You cannot contain idea. You cannot carry idea and put in the pockets. iPhone and Samsung, they've been fighting an idea fight, and they're still fighting the idea fight. iPhone say, I want my phone. Look at the iPhone 16 now. See how iPhone change the camera positioning. Is that not another phone's idea? That was not that. And if you check other phones, they've all been copying iPhone's camera idea. If you understand where I'm going to, if you check it very well. So that's still graphic designing. Design of the model of the phone. Look at how iPhone did their camera for the Max, their Max. If you check Techno, check Infinix, all of them are just nobody is pointing gun on anybody's back. Just like as I can see Mubashi holding the camera. So that's what I mean. So that's the whole idea. So it's the idea that they're copying. So do you know that 5 people can copy an idea and design different designs? It can happen. It's the idea we copied. The idea cannot be contained. It's not something that you can hold on the hand. It's an idea. We can all copy one idea, but tweak the idea, and the idea will look different. I was watching one cartoon. The designer, that's why you have what they call anime cartoons. Anime cartoons is an idea. It's an idea of a cartoon drawing. It's an idea. And every other person that does on that idea, they just call that cartoon an anime, manga. It's an idea. Somebody started drawing cartoon like that one time. The same thing with Walt Disney. Walt Disney started drawing a particular way, and people started copying Walt Disney's drawing. And that's what formed the company. So everything comes from an idea. And you who is building in the career of graphic designing, you too will build in an idea. You may become so concrete in one particular ideology that all designs will be following that same ideology going forward. Yes, it comes like that. It will become like that. It's how multimedia and everything multimedia is. It's all about ideas. I think I have done justice to it too far. Let's see. Because I'm actually done so far. Okay, I said I'm going to show you how to. I'll do a quick one with the softwares. This is 1051. Can I go on with that at this point? To do just something on these softwares. Not that I want to do something big, something expansive, but just to touch
no
some of
problem.
the
We can.
tools.
No problem. Let's use Photoshop. So let's edit
Let's do
Photoshop.
Photoshop first. Okay. So I won't do something grand. Yes, I can see a hand, a thumbs up as well. So I'll start with Photoshop as being said. All right, so back to Photoshop. So Photoshop, as I mentioned many times, has to do with photo editing. So, and I also mentioned that you can use it to do screen design. So one thing you need to notice in Photoshop is the tools as well as the menu at the top. The tools can lock in, as you can see me locking it at the bottom, at the side here. Yes, to stick it in there, or you can move it around. Okay. So if I were to do a design for, let's say I want to do something in thinking of something I'll put in. I'm not going to do photo editing though, but I'm going to do Instagram. You already know the view. And 1080 this is screen. 1080 which you already know already. The resolution I can leave it at 72, or I can take it to 100. Now the resolution is just how sharp it will look like. How sharp it will look like. If I increase this number more and more, it will make the file heavier and heavier. So the file will be more heavy to load. And since they want to put it on social media, it's also good that you should notice that the more heavier it is, the more harder it will load on a social media based on the person's internet. See, the internet is not fast. The picture will be loading slowly. It will be loading up, coming in, loading on the page, loading slowly, loading. So you want to be very careful not to put a very high resolution to make it load. That's why 72 is not a bad number. Okay. The background is white, meaning the background that is there is white. If you want to make it transparent or black, you can choose, or any other color, you can choose it here. Okay. The color mode is RGB. Now, what I mean by bit, it means that same color mode has extensions. It has extensions, meaning if I have red, I have various varieties of red. If I have blue, I have various varieties of blue. I have green, I have various varieties of blue. 8 bits is the limited variety of that color variation. 16 bits expand it, and 32 bits expands it, so depending on the one you want. So leave it at 32, doesn't matter. So I use pixels, and then I click on OK, it loads me the pitch with these color swatches and the whole thing that I've mentioned you. So I can now begin work on the software. So for instance, let's say I'm going to do a design. This is where I said the ideas to work on the design. I start thinking of the ideas. What kind of design I want to design? Is it for a church? I already know that I want to do something for a church. One reason for a church, I would need to get the pastor's picture and or his wife and put it outside. I'll need to put a text. So let me just start with the text. I come to the T here. You also need to know what fonts are. So if you click on fonts, you need to know fonts. You need to also know fonts, very important. There's 1,000,001 fonts, and every font has, but I think they taught you would have talked about fonts from the basics. There are 3 basic fonts. And if you allow me, I think I would like to ask so that I know whether you are also learning that part. Who can help me out? There are 3 landing fonts, 3 landing that this font comes up. Can you mention these 3?
Executive, design, graphics.
Let me. No, I didn't talk about it. It's not me, but I know they talked about it. Mr. Joseph would have talked about it.
Sans serif, serif, and display
Sans
fonts.
serif and display, yeah.
Thank you very much. Sans serif and display. Those are the 3. So they say sans serif, serif, and display. So sans serif is still sans. Then the serif and then the display fonts. It's from those 3 that breeds out all these different fonts that we have normally, and these fonts are used particularly for particular things. So sans serif is used for particular things. Serif is the one that has edges, like text. Those are the ones they say they use for printing. So if you want to print, like newspaper, serifs are the ones that are used for newspaper. So, you see, that's the idea. So if I want to create what do you call this now? A brochure, I would think it's serif already for the informations already. Sans serif are the display, are the, what do you call it? They are the screen fonts. That's sans serif. They are the ones that are like serif, but they don't have edges. They have lines that are chicken out, right? Then the last one is the display fonts, like the funny looking like a font. So, once you already have those ideas, you already be thinking, where should we be going from here? You already be thinking that direction. So that's for that. So, that's why I said the theoretical aspect of the class too was very helpful, because you can't just jump here and start typing any kind of fonts and it will not look presentable. So if it's for a church, I'll be looking for formal, church is formal. I'll be looking for formal fonts, and I'll be tailing into the direction of sans serif. No, sorry, I'll be tailing into the direction of serif, I mean to say, since I know I'm going formal, it's a church. So I'll be looking at something formal. If I'm doing something for a club, I'll be looking at display fonts. So I know it's a club. Maybe they are doing night shoe. I'll be looking at something as display fonts, since it's not formal. So that's what the fonts allows you to do in a nutshell. So I'm looking for, this is sun. So you can see, I'm looking for a serif. Normally the serif that we know are Times New Roman. Times New Roman is one serif. Sorry, let me remove this. The padlock is blocking it. I hope it's not Zoom that's discussing this. Okay, so it's not allowing me to unlock. I think it's I want to use it before, but let me use it. He's typing something because it's small. Sometimes when you're on Zoom, this can't pertains to the. Let me make it bigger. Okay. The text. Coming.
Sorry, someone said you should double click on the background. Maybe it's
No,
going to
it's not the background. It's not the background per se.
Okay.
It's sometimes it's Zoom, because I'm on a Zoom channel. It's not allowing me to up. Even the mouse isn't clicking. So basically, because I've done this before, so it's not allowing me to click anything. And if I go off Zoom, let me stop sharing this screen. Try it. But basically, what I'm just no, it's alive. So maybe I'll just go into Illustrator or otherwise. If Photoshop keeps me believing. Now. All right, so it's working now. So it was the Zoom channel. So I'll just share it again. right, so the padlock that allowed for text to come in. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to type my text, which I'm doing here. So you will notice it's blinking black and white. It's still the zoom that is causing that. So let's say I type Christian fellowship, which is mostly the kind of font you see them do whenever they are. So I'm using Time Engine Roman now. We're going to make the text a little bit bigger. This was a tidy. Okay, so Zoom doesn't work well with with CorelDRAW. With Photoshop, I need to say. Expand this text, no, make it smaller so that fellowship stays under. Okay. Well, but I think you get it. It's just, I think the software is not really working well with them. But this is the whole idea. If you say that I'm trying to work on something, try to put it here. Let's say, for instance, I put it here. Now, most of the softwares, especially Adobe and Illustrator, they give you lines. You can see that red line that is a pink line that's popping in. It's trying to allow you to align. Where do you want to align this text? And I want to put it here because I want to put the logo of the company or the logo of the church on top there. I will do that. I click, and they work with layers as well, which is something else we'll learn going next week. Layers, which is this, allows you to select what you want to use and what do you call it? And use it. So one here. Let's see, one here. And the design. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I will need to get a picture of a person, maybe put the person in front of this sheet. Get some background pictures. There's a need for background pictures for this church, something. And then let's pick it around. So I said I'm not going to do something very intense. Just want to do a little bit since this is not the class for that. Get a logo. If I've designed a logo already on Illustrator, I can bring it here and put it up there. Get a picture, put it down here. Okay, so normally to get a picture, let's say I have a picture on my system. I have a picture already. Don't. We'll stop here. Let's say hang up, just give me a minute. Okay, let me use this picture. Good, what? There's the picture here. So I'm bringing this picture of this lady. And I know that if I carry her picture, don't start this again. Allow me to look. If I start her picture and I bring her to that background, a background, I mean, to block some things. I don't take her. So this is what Photoshop is good on. Photoshop is very good on this one. To remove her from the background. It's very good. One of the softwares that does this very well. And there are ways to do it. All right. There are ways to select the picture and remove the background from it. Newer versions does it in a very good way. You can select the subject and remove the background from the subject. Other ways is to use the quick selection tool and select her, as I'm trying to do here, and then take her off the background. Take note, all this will be discussed with you when resume next week. So let's say I'm trying it out myself now. I'm going to select. Better still, let me do this. Let me do this here, which will be much faster for me. So I'll select, as I did in the other one, I'll use this, but I'll reduce the size so that I can select what I don't want. Slowly. Okay. Oops. I need a body. Okay. All right. All right. Once you're done, you can refine by checking what you've done. Notice that she's one that cut, so I'm going to right click and reverse, select reverse, since I want her, I don't want that background. So I've taken all this red, all this yellow is showing here on her hair. So I can use this to tweak that and take all this side, give only want her hair. I don't want this yellow. So I'm taking it off. Okay. Slightly, I'm doing this very gently, but I'm doing it fast because I want to click and this. So once I'm done, I'm not looking perfect. I'm looking perfect. Not perfect, no. Okay, I think I can manage what I've done. So once you're done, I would can do Ctrl J on this one. It creates a new copy of her without the background. That's Ctrl J, which we'll talk about, and then I can drag her now. Well done, and drop her here. Don't want this other one now. I'll just delete this one. And then I can now continue from there. Oops, some of the yellows issued. Note that you can see tweak on that. You can see tweak on it, what you just did before. You can see tweak on the picture. Do some removal. Hopefully to remove some of the yellows. But basically that was it. So then other things you add, the background and what have you. I'm just trying to change some things here. It's for that yellow there. Okay. Newer versions give you better ways to remove these things, to make it much faster for you. But otherwise, so that's then listen. Yeah, so you notice the whole idea of pixelate is what I'm talking about here. So as I zoom her very well, this is what I mean by the pixelate. So that's why this is mostly for screen. And and the other things you need to add to do, we want to do some text, touching on the text and whatever, you can do that. I'll stop for this one so I don't just go further in it. So this whole idea works best for Photoshop. All right, see how easy it was made. It's easy for me to cut half from the background. It's not going to be easy for you to do that you can't even do that easily on CorelDRAW or Illustrator. You have to bring the picture here, do this here, finish, save this as JPEG or PNG, then carry that picture and drop it on Illustrator or CorelDRAW, or save it as PSD or AI, depending on the software you're using. If the newer versions, it should work better on. Okay, so I'll just stop sharing this on the screen. Okay, Mr. Matthew, your hands up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, Mr. Tony, once again. This Photoshop, I've seen so many. So I want to do the same Photoshop that Lenny is possible.
Sorry, Mr. Matthew, I can't hear you very well. The network is breaking up again.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah,
Okay.
better now.
I said the Photoshop that we're going to be trained on is out, because I've seen something on the social media. So I want to know if it is this same Photoshop that you use for it, where you see somebody holding itself in a bottle or sitting on the top of a spoon. Is this the same Photoshop that
Yes,
they
yes,
use for doing?
yes.
Okay.
It's the same Photoshop. It's the same Photoshop. It's the same. Yes. So we'll discuss that. We'll do that as well. Yes. So that's the whole idea of photo editing. So you get a spoon. You have to learn how to manipulate two pictures, or maybe you want somebody that his head is a globe. Maybe you want to make his head a bulb that's turned on. So you get a picture of a bulb. You get a human being's head, and you photo edit that the two pictures will blend as one and look like if his head is actually a globe or a bulb. So that's Photoshop's role. That's the role for Photoshop. Illustrator and CorelDRAW are for graphics, vector graphics. Like, so for instance, if I was going to do that same thing I just did on Illustrator, it would still look same T that I tapped there, same size. It will still almost look same. If I type the same Christian Fellowship, still look same. Expand this. I want it to be proportional. We'll change the font, but this one is more fluid. Illustrator and is more fluid, as in more easier. It's just flowing very easy. When you're using CorelDRAW, Photoshop to do flyer, you'll be feeling it that it's so rigid. But this one's CorelDRAW and Illustrator, you look so fluid. I'm just moving it. It didn't give me that problem that that one was even giving me initially when I was trying to get the text in. So let's say I want to make the text too. Give that other one behind. So all right, so like Photoshop, Illustrator too, Photoshop, I mean, Illustrator is also working with layers. I'm going to save, I want to save the picture, or let me do something instead. What am I doing a flyer 2 years? This is what the software is for, logo design and what have you. That's much better. So let's say I bring in, our, this is already in picture format. So I'm doing this on this one. That would be much better on this one. I'm doing this logo here, right? Illustrator and CorelDRAW are also good for this kind of thing. They're vector. So to get this done. I'm going to start now. So first of all, I'm using an ellipse. There's always a key. There's a, what do you call it? A hotkey for everything. And I'm holding some of the hotkey, which you might not be able to see. So the hotkey to draw a well proportional circle is hotkey for every other thing within. So those hotkeys is something you will get to learn going forward. How to use the hotkeys to do particular things. There's a knife. Get up. Sorry, let me put that. Trying to get this curve nature here. So I think I'll start from here, from here. I need to make it not too high. That should be it. Then you also learn how to use the other things we were talking about going forward too. How to use some of these panel at the right hand side, which we also mentioned. So I know it's not all the tools, it's not every tool has a different, every tool you can use them for more than one thing. All right, what I mean is you can use the same tool to do two different things, and or you can use the same tool and do something different than what somebody else has used that tool for. That's when you are now, you've used the tool, the software very well to a level that you've understood it very well. You can tweak it the way you want without even any problem. And you're like, wow, this is it. So it's something you need to practice while consistently, because it's very, very important. I have made a mistake here. I was meant to have turned this on using the transform. So I get that song very well. So no. All right, so the 12th, we'll make it 12th. Here. Then it's one, right? Oops. A little bit. So apparently, maybe the best way I would have done it was retracing it, which is another way. But I feel I just want to do it this way so that I am using my eyes to take the information rather than just jumping into copying directly. So I'm using my eyes to take the information. I know I've missed something here. I can see it, but I can also tweak that by dragging this one forward. Pending this a little. So this is the tweak. So this software, I can't, what I'm doing now with this Illustrator, I can't do it on CorelDRAW, like on Photoshop like this, but I can do it on CorelDRAW same. So those are that's what you mean by the vector and the raster. All right, if you zoom in, you see it did not blur. I'm zoomed in very well now. If I did this on Photoshop, this would have been blurring somewhere. Would have been blurring somewhere. Look at it from the line area. So you can see from the line. See that line? I'm zooming in still. It's still sharp, not blurring. Meaning that these softwares, CorelDRAW and Photoshop, are meant for this kind of job. And meant for this job. So that's one thing we should also note. Okay. I think yes, there's another circle behind this. So we don't get circle. So, but I think everyone gets the whole idea. I think, yeah. So, this is a caricature drawing of Pepsi. But that's it. This score I didn't get it. I think I didn't start well. That's not how I should have done this one. This one I would sketch it. So how sketching is like this. You are doing it on your own. One, copy line. So sketching is sketch it down. Use a circle for my off. Better before the sketching. Right. Okay. It's must be the same. Let me choose. Well, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. And it's the same with CorelDRAW. If I was to open CorelDRAW to do the same logo, the same idea, the same concepts, the same thing. Same thing. Wondering why this stuff is not making this. Okay, so I was told that I had 15 minutes ago, some 15 minutes ago. This is any kind of any final. I think there's no time for me to do the CorelDRAW because we know we'll still come in the physical class. So any final feedbacks that I need to hear as regard to the software. Take notes, the class starts on Monday by 9 a.m., 9 a.m. So it is not wise you come by 9 a.m. You come by 8:30, at least, at most 8:30, I mean, so that you are prepared, you're on ground, you are ready, you are starting with us, not that you're coming in while we're ready. They start by 9 a.m., but please come earlier than that. For any other question you might outside this time that we are in, when the class is over, you can drop that question on the chat. The IT team and or the graphics team are still on hand on the chats. You already been connected to a chat, so the WhatsApp chat. So you can drop any of those questions afterwards.
Okay,
And you will be
can you share the description to allow sir and so because I can't really get the address especially.
Okay. So that would also be shared. Thank you for the information. We have noted it. The information as regards to the direction to get into that place that will be shared on the WhatsApp. It will be shared as a map, yeah, using the Google map. So if you have your phone already, you should have your Google map there. You will just click it, will just show you the map, and the direction will be on the map. So that's how we share it. So you would have a direction there. You're welcome. Okay, double click on the background to unlock. Yeah, no, it's working. It didn't work on mine because of what Zoom. When I went off, it works. It works. It's just that it was not working for mine on Zoom. So we also mentioned that software installation will be happening. And I clearly mentioned that it's going to be based on the cohorts. First on Monday, second on Tuesday, only in the morning time, after which we will not be installing the software. We know that buying it online is expensive, so we'll be making sure that we install it on Monday morning. Please bring your system, which is going to be helpful. So we do that on Monday and on Tuesday morning, after which we will not be doing it afterwards. I think so far so good, right? I hope I was able to make a lot of things clear or don't do justice to the time I had to breaking down the softwares to you. All right. I'm on the wrapping notes. This is wrapping notes now. Is there any other thing you might want me to share before we call it a day?
For me, it's very clear. Thank you so much. It was an engaging and very interesting class. I look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shegun. Well appreciated. Abdul Wahab, you want to say something? I couldn't hear you. Okay, thank you very much. All right, until Monday next week. Thank you for your time. I think I'll be the one shutting down this Zoom.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Light, Mr. Yusuf. Yeah, okay, Mr. Emmanuel Light, want to say something?
I just dropped a message on the chat. I don't know if you can look into it.
Okay, so I'm going on to it now. Someone asked a question regarding those that wouldn't permit them to be present physically. Any plans with that? As regards to we are not going to be able to do this Zoom or remote service or remote connection when we're having the practicals. So that cannot work. What I mean is, like now you're connected, maybe you're in your office, but you're connected here. When we're having the physical class, we will not be able to do this same thing. That means there will be no Zoom, there will be no online. It's just physical, no remote, no online. So that's going to be an issue. We are hoping that you can find a way before that day. Today is Thursday. Before weekend, you can find a way to make it outside your work time to come. We have, I think it's 2 sessions. Yes,
Okay, yeah, 2 sessions. I understand that.
It's just morning and afternoon.
I'm not talking of every section. I mean, I can be able to meet up with, let's say, 1 or twice.
Okay.
Consecutively for all days. I don't know how possible that will be. So is that still going to be acceptable? Even if we don't make up all the physical classes.
Now, yes, it can be done, but you also have to do your own part. The own part is we're also going to be sending materials and content
Definitely.
for you on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So you can be checking them if you are missed the class. So that you just know, okay, this is what they taught this day, and you're not part of it.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, and please note also, because the cohort is twice a week, before the cohort is twice a week, right? 2 cohorts, twice. So if we do something on Monday, another cohort on Tuesday, then we do the same thing that we did on Monday. So Monday and Tuesday is the same thing. Wednesday and Thursday is the same thing. So what I'm saying is, you have 2 classes that are doing the same, 2 days that are doing the same thing. Monday's class and Tuesday's class is the same. So if you come on Monday, it's for 1 cohort. Another class is for another cohort for Tuesday. When Wednesday comes, it's a new thing for a new cohort. So as Monday's cohort, we'll now be doing something new for Wednesday. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is that if you choose your days, you can choose twice in a week, and you will meet us flowing, and we will not have passed anyway. But that days can be either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday. That kind of thing. That would be the way. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. We will be meeting on Monday, God willing.
Log me out. So
Thank you very much, sir.
I wanted to ask Can I proceed? No. I think. Please, I don't know if you can still hear me. I wanted to ask a final question.